How do you grieve something that you didn't even know had already happened? If you went in for your routine checkup like I did, and you were expecting, like, you had all the beautiful butterflies of expecting to hear your baby's heartbeat, or you just went in like, okay, another checkup, whatever that may be, and the person doing the ultrasound just got quiet. And you notice, like for me, they put extra jelly on and they kept moving it around, trying to find what they were looking for. And the silence was deafening. And then they tell you there's no heartbeat. And you had no idea. No symptoms, no bleeding, nothing indicating that anything was wrong with your pregnancy. Let me tell you this, you didn't miss anything. Your body did not fail you, and neither did your motherly instincts. Let's talk about what actually happened and why. If only we talked about it, actually talked about it. That is this conversation. Welcome back to If Only We Talked, where we help women heal through miscarriage, pregnancy loss, and the conversations no one else is having, so we can become the whole woman God created us to be. Now, before we go any further, everything that I'm sharing today is common experience information, not personalized medical advice. Every pregnancy and every body is different, so please talk to your doctor about your specific situation. And of course, above all else, please always consult the Holy Spirit. Here's what a miscarriage actually is. And I have my notes right here so I can read it off to you, okay? So to define it plainly, it's when your baby's heart stops or pregnancy stops developing, but your body doesn't recognize the loss right away. And that was my experience. The Mayo Clinic says the placenta can keep producing pregnancy hormones after loss. And it still feels like a normal pregnancy. You'll have the nausea, the tenderness, of the breast and all those other things. You'll be extra sensitive, all the hormone rages, and you'll even still have a positive pregnancy test. And for me, I went in for my 12-week checkup appointment. Regular routine, was excited. I had my daughter with me. She was 2 at the time. We were super excited. Oh, let's go see baby. Oh, I'm so excited. You get to see the heartbeat today. All of the things that, we hype up our child about, and something that we're excited about to go see our little babies coming, And, she's excited. She's ready. And the whole moment happened to where it's quiet. She puts more gel on my stomach and she's looking. And she's like, well, I'm not seeing anything. Let me go confirm. So she brings in another doctor and they confirm, yes, you've had a miscarriage. And by the time that they actually, there's no heartbeat, they told me that too. Like, by the time that they told me, I had already knew, I just knew. God had already told me. I already said, Jesus, you are my king. It doesn't matter. Like, I didn't say it doesn't matter. I was like, Jesus, you are still my king. Like, saying that, God, whatever, you're all I got. That's what I said at the moment. And I was looking this way. I was laying down flat on the table, and my daughter had already started crying, as if she could already perceive what was going to happen and what she already knew. She started crying, and we were just like, weird, okay. But come to find out, that was why. She felt the shift in the spirit of, all the things that were happening. But we were completely unaware. We went from excited, happy, full of hope, to distressed, to sad, to angry, to questioning, all of the emotions that hit you, to grief, immediate grief. And that, I think, is so, how can I word that? Is never talked about. Is grief starts immediately when you find out. Immediately. It doesn't, it's a punch in the face like you would never expect. So my grief started immediately. Now you may be asking, well, why are there no signs for a miscarriage? And why is it so common? And I want to caution you with this, because one of the things that I fell into the trap with, the enemy really played on me with this, and I had to work through it with God through my healing journey, is Nothing is wrong with you specifically. And I want you to take that to heart. I want you to know that it's not you. 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 Nothing is wrong with you. Your body didn't fail you. You didn't fail your baby. You didn't fail yourself. You didn't fail your spouse. You didn't fail your family. You didn't fail you. And I actually have a stat here, Human Reproduction Journal study by Finland. Miscarriages account for 39% of all registered miscarriages within that study. And it's caught more often now because ultrasound tech has improved, which is a good thing because we want to know as soon as possible. And that may even lead you to ask, well, how did I not notice sooner? How did no one, my doctor, my physician, how did we not notice sooner? How did I not notice that something was wrong? But there's oftentimes nothing to know. There's no bleeding, no symptoms. You feel exactly the same as we talked about earlier. You feel pregnant. So there's nothing to detect yet. And for me personally, like I noticed I had some light bleeding and it was dark brown, and I consulted my doctor about it. My OBGYN doctor about it. And he was like, "Oh, nothing to worry about. It's pretty common in early pregnancy. Don't worry about it. You should be good." So I was like, "Okay, cool." Like, I was still like, okay. But it's not a sign, because if my doctor, well, it's a sign now I know in hindsight. And I want you to have grace with yourself. Because for me, I had to have grace with myself because I didn't know that that bleeding was telling me I had a miscarriage because I did what I was supposed to do. I was like, okay, let me contact my physician. This seems a little off. I already have a 2-year-old who I had naturally. So like, I know what pregnancy looks like, and I didn't bleed early with her. So why am I bleeding early now? And it's light and it's dark, and Google, of course I Googled it. And I was like, okay, is this normal? Is this okay? And Google was like, yeah, it's pretty normal, but contact your physician just in case. So I was like, okay, cool. And so I did. And he was like, oh, nothing to worry about, pretty normal. So I didn't register it as a sign of something was wrong. There was something going on with my pregnancy or a miscarriage. I was just like, okay, like I didn't experience this before, but every pregnancy isn't the same. So I kind of just brushed it off. And then at my 12-week appointment, I found out that my baby's gestational age in the sac was 8 weeks. So that's when my baby stopped developing. But I had no idea. And I want you to have grace with yourself, because there may be no symptoms at all, that your experience may be different than mine. I didn't register the early bleeding because it was normal. My doctor said it was normal. Other women's experiences said it was normal to bleed. And the type of bleeding I was having, it was light, it was dark. It was like, oh, it could be because the line is shedding and all this other stuff, all these explanations. But you may notice something in your healing journey like, oh my gosh, that was a sign that I was having a miscarriage. But that's not a sign that you are guilty of not catching it. Hear me when I say that. It is not a sign that you are guilty because you didn't catch it. And like, as if you could have done anything to prevent it. Just calm down. You may notice something that, oh my gosh, that may be the moment, that may be this, that may be that. Why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I rush to the hospital? You can have all of those thoughts and emotions, let them come up. But it's so important that you have grace with yourself. Have grace with yourself. Because if you beat yourself down because you have those thoughts, or because you notice something that you didn't notice before, the enemy will see that as a crack in a crevice and try to creep in there and build a wound that is so deep and infested, because you already are wounded from the miscarriage. That's just a reality, because it hurts. It's trauma. So he will go in that wound, and he will try to infest it with all those negative thoughts like, oh, you're this and you're that. Like, one of the things he used to say to me is, you're dumb. How did you not notice? Like, all these other things. And God was just like, baby, I need you to have grace with yourself. That is not the truth. You didn't know. It's okay. I got you. We're going to work through this. And that's something I talk about in my program, where we evaluate those emotions and those things and how God guided me through it. The whole woman method. how he guided me through my whole healing journey. And that's one of the things I had to be very, very, very cautious of, is to not feel guilty about the things that I feel like I should have noticed because I didn't know. God has grace with you, have grace with yourself, please. So what normally happens at the appointment and your options after? Usually discovered at the routine ultrasound. Like for me, they detected that there was no heartbeat and the baby was measuring smaller because my baby was 8 weeks gestational stage, but she was supposed to be 12 weeks. And in another case, if they detect that the baby is developing small, but there is still a heartbeat present, they'll go ahead and schedule a second ultrasound, normally 10 to 14 days after. And this is not something that I personally went through, but I can only imagine the agony. Because with my first pregnancy, they told me like my child now, Kavai, on the earth was measuring small at some point, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna give you a second ultrasound and stuff like that. But God was like, no, she's fine. Don't think about it. Don't worry about it. You're not going to that. Ignore it. They're wrong. So I can only, in like the terror I was in, I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Like, you just mother mode. Like, we all just get into this mode of like, what's happening? How do I help? What can I do? Because we want to fix it because there are babies and all these other things. And that is a whole kind of agony that I couldn't imagine at that stage. But there are so many women who go through that. And that is, like I said, its own kind of agony, its own kind of, it comes with wrapped in a lot of emotions that you may be feeling like, oh, what can I do? What did I do? Why is this happening? There are more questions than there are answers at that stage. And then there's the path forward. After you're confirmed to have had a miscarriage, they gave me 3 options. And these are the options that they're going to give you 2. It's 1, naturally passing it at home. 2 is to have a D&C. 3 is to take medication to help it pass. For me, I did the natural passing at home, and it is still birth. Let me just tell you, because one of the things that they do not tell you, and they have done such a disservice in the medical community with all the women that I've talked to, and even my experience, they don't tell you that it is birth. You feel contractions. You're laboring. I labored to give birth to my heaven baby. I labored for that. So it is still birth. You are still giving birth, and with no medication. If that's something that you like, the contractions are intense. It's a whole birth thing. It really is. And there are dangers with it if you don't know what to detect and what to look out for. Hemorrhaging, how much you're bleeding, how you're feeling. Are you lightheaded? There are so many things, and I've talked about that in previous videos, that you need to look out for if you decide to naturally pass your baby at home, is what they call it in the medical community. But I call it giving birth at home, because that is the truth. We're giving birth. I personally gave birth on my toilet because I was miseducated. I had no idea, but I could have went to the hospital. I could have done a lot of different things if I would have known what to look for and how I wanted to give birth. I would have chosen a different route, but I didn't know. And another option is the D&C. And I talked about that in full in another video as well. And then another video I have about the 3 options. So you can go and review those if that's something that you want to know more about. And then the medication assisted one. And that is the one with what they call the shortest wait, because it helps it to move the process along. And let me tell you this, there is no right choice. What was right for me was the natural passing with the information I knew and being guided by the Holy Spirit, and the option that my doctor expressed to me. And I didn't know what was happening. It happened. I wanted to go natural, but really I was still in the deliberation stage of the 3 when the natural one just happened. So it was by default. And I'm glad I went with that because it was the best for me. And that was one of my prayers. Like, God, just I don't know what to do, and it happened. So God made a way when I didn't know which way to go. And that's why He's so good. I'm telling you. So when you are making your decision, whether you decide to go to the medication route to help move the process along, the D&C route with the medical procedure, or you decide to have the natural passing, as they call it in the medical community, or the birthing at home, like I did, like I call it, That is your choice. That's between you, God, and your doctor. Make sure you get consultation from the Holy Spirit because He knows best. And if you are caught up, like I said before, and if you are caught up in the feeling and the thoughts of, how didn't I know? How did I not notice it? Why didn't I feel something? Why didn't I detect it? Holy Spirit, like, God, why didn't you tell me? Why wasn't I sensitive enough? Like, all of those emotions I felt. And medically, there was nothing to feel. And spiritually, you didn't know. It's really that simple, but it takes a while to process that. It really does, because it's like, God, you could have told me. I could have prepared. I could have prayed against this. I could have. If. I mean, I played that game so many hours in my head. And God was with me the whole time because I relied on Him. But let me tell you, if that is the spiraling question that just keeps coming in your head right now, it's okay. It's okay that you didn't know. It's okay that you didn't detect it. It's okay, like, if you see something as a sign now that you didn't catch before. All of those things are okay. I know you may not think it's okay, but it is. It's okay. Because I miss those things too. We're human. We're moms. We're daughters of the Most High God. And we didn't know. That's okay. All of those things can be true all at once. And I have a stat here from ACOG that says 50% of miscarriages are caused by chromosomal abnormalities, nothing anyone could sense, prevent, or cause. It was not your fault. And one of the things that I had to navigate, because my daughter was with me when I found out the news of my miscarriage, I had to let her know. And we had talked to her before, like, oh, we're having a baby, da 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 da. We were so happy and excited. We immediately shared the news with her. So that's something we had to navigate, my husband and I, with our child, and really me as the mother, the maternal figure, and the one who she saw crying sometimes and who would be sad or withdrawn a little bit. And I tried my best to overcome, but while I'm healing, like, I need to be good for me in order to be good for her. I got to make sure my cup has something in it in order to pour out for her. So she saw me navigating that, and I was very open and very honest with my child about it. And like I said, she was 2. And sometimes we not even sometimes, we still talk about having baby Avaya. She actually mentioned her the other day when one of her old teachers named Miss Autumn, she was like, yeah, Miss Autumn has a baby or a dog in heaven. And I was like, oh, really cool. And she was like, yeah, with having baby Avaya. So I made it a point for her, my child, to remember her sibling, her child, or her sister. I made it a point, like, I understand, like, she started sleeping in the bed with us because I wanted her close, because, I mean, just so many things. God was using her to heal me. I was very open, honest, and raw, and age appropriate at the same time because she's 2. So me and my husband and I, we broke it down like, heaven baby, baby went back to heaven with God. And my husband said something beautiful. And like, my whole journey is right here. Like, that's the beautiful thing about how God set this up. It's basically a video diary of from the day my husband gets on camera, the day that I was given my 3 options, the day that I found out, all of it up until now. Like, this was November 24th of 2024 that we found this out, and all of it is documented in all the videos. Like, that's the beautiful thing about it. So you can go back and see what my husband said, see how I navigated with my child. But my husband and I were very clear, like, she's 2, so let's communicate on her level. Baby went back to heaven with God, like with the Father, and she's so happy and she's running free and she gets to do all these things. We made it really like unicorns and rainbows, but because that's the truth of the reality. She won't cry, she won't do any of that. She's just loving heaven. She's with God. That's where we all want to be soon, like when our time comes. That's the whole point. So she already is there. Like, how wonderful. And when we get there, we can see her too. So, but we also, we're like, yeah, mommy and daddy are sad. And we asked her how she felt. She expressed that she was sad. She cried in the doctor's office. She cried with me sometimes, not often, because she didn't grieve the same that I did. And my husband didn't grieve like I did. We all grieve differently, and that's okay too. So with your husband, please know that he is grieving differently. Just because you don't see him crying and you don't hear him talk about it, men have their own way of grieving. That's why my husband talks about his side of grief as well, because they grieve so much differently. And one of the things, the misconception I had was like, God, he doesn't even talk about it. Like, or when I would go and talk to him about it and stuff, it was like, yeah, like he was past it already. And God, I had to go to God on behalf of my husband. Like, God, what is he really thinking? And God began to open it up to me. Like, well, baby, like this, he's going through this. Like, did you ask him? So we had to navigate that too. So just because he's not saying anything or what he's saying doesn't align with how you feel or what you're thinking about the pregnancy loss, just know that you're all grieving. If you have children, multiple children, they're grieving. They just may grieve differently because they were in a stage of expectancy too. And anything that you're expecting, when it's taken away or when you don't get that, there is a period of grief to it, especially something like this. So just know that they are navigating too. So be sensitive to that. I know that you are the one carrying the baby. I know that you're the one who has to go through it, but in their own way and in their own right, they are too. So we have to respect that and we have to navigate that with them and know that that is not pressure on you. That should be freedom because you're all in this together. That's what family's for. And one of the things that no one tells you emotionally is the fact that grief is layered. How about the fact that we were pregnant, then our baby already went to heaven before we even knew? That's layered grief. Because when you find out, it's like, oh my gosh, my baby was gone before I even knew it. And I was still like for me, I was still talking to my baby, pushing on my tummy, thinking like she was responding and like just thinking she was hearing me, thinking that she was fully present in my womb. Her body was, but her soul wasn't. Like her spirit wasn't. It already went back to the Father. So I was like, oh my gosh. Like, so that retroactive grief to where I was like, when did it happen? Like, what was I doing? Was it a calm moment? Was it sacred? Was it like, and it still like kind of chokes me up to this day. Cause it's like, I have no idea what I was doing when she went to heaven inside of my womb. Like, I just don't know. And I'm okay not knowing. But at the same time, it's like, man, I hope it was peaceful. Man, I hope I was such in a state of like, just, oh, I'm so happy to have you in my stomach. I'm so happy that you're growing, that you're beautiful, that I love you so much. Daddy loves you, Sissy loves you. Like all of the love was just adoring her before she returned back to heaven. So I want you to know that this is a layered kind of grief, and that is okay. And that's completely normal. Grief is layered within itself, but especially when you didn't know when it happened. So it's a whole different kind of grief because you were expecting, you were hoping, you were wishing, you were creating this whole life for your child. Your whole family dynamic was going to change. Like we were thinking about getting a bigger place because we need more room for another baby. And, oh, we got to get this. Oh, we got to get this. Oh, Kavai still has this, so we can use this for this now. And the baby can use this. And Kavai will go ahead and buy her something new. Like your whole frame of mind changes. Like there's even a point to where I had to get in my healing journey to be able to get rid of the things that we were holding on to, you know, from my older child to give to the one that I had a miscarriage with, Heaven Baby Avaya. Like, so, and I ended up giving it to one of my old coworkers at work because she was expecting. And I was like, oh, Lord, it's time. Like, it's time, right, God? And he was like, baby, I can always give it back. It's no problem. Go ahead and give it, because she was in need of it at that moment. But it was so healing, and it was a whole thing that I didn't expect to feel. It was just like a wave of, I wouldn't say grief, but it was a wave of like, I was expecting to be using this for my baby. But like, only God can work all things together for your good. Now I'm able to give some to this stuff, the stroller, the playpen, the carrier, like all of that kind of stuff, and clothes and books. I can give that to my coworker now who needs it more at this very moment. And God, I believe you. I'm still believing. Like the t-shirt I have in my shop, I'm still believing that I'll have my baby. And like you said, you can give it to me again. I can go and buy it. It's not a problem. But it is so, 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 so layered. Grief is so layered because you have the moments of and all these other things and the crying, and but there's also a beautiful side that God is working even when you don't see it. He is the potter. We are the clay. Like he is working on something that we cannot conceive of at that moment. We just have to be open to it. And we have in the Bible where it says in Psalm 34:18, God is close to the brokenhearted. And even though we don't know the exact moment our babies went to heaven when they were inside of our womb, God was close to them. God knew. God received them with open arms and beauty and splendor and all the wonderful things that he is, and to his kingdom. That is what matters. And the fact that he is near us now, that's what matters. And grief and healing through grief doesn't require that you know exactly when it happened and that you're fully present and you're fully aware at the moment that your baby went to heaven. It doesn't. It just requires that you love. And that's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly why you're here watching this video now. So there are actually questions that you can, if you desire to, ask your doctor, and actually have them here. So I'm going to read them off to you. You can ask about a follow-up ultrasound, the timing and the purpose, just like we talked about earlier. You can ask about genetic testing. It's optional and personal. And you can also ask about the physical recovery after miscarriage and when you should try again. Like, what's the optimal time? What's the best timing for you and your family and what you all have going on in your specific situation? There is no question too small, stupid, dumb. You ask all the questions you want to. They're there to give you care. Remember that. And then I do also have a list of common questions that women ask. Is something wrong with my body? No. Nothing is wrong with your body. As we talked about earlier, you did not fail. Your body didn't fail. And I will say this, it is definitely something that you can discuss with your doctor and the Holy Spirit, because that is the perfect time to say, okay, what's going on? Is there something that we didn't catch before? Is there something that you didn't see? Are there fibroids? Is there something on my ovaries? Like, that's the time to really get inquisitive about your body and ask God, why did that happen? What's happening? And before you start trying again, it would be wise in order, like, is it my hormones? Like, can I get my hormones in order? What about my diet? And that's not to say something is wrong with your body, but nothing is wrong with healing. Nothing is wrong with healing. Healing physically, nothing's wrong with that either. So just ask, like fibroids, are there things that we didn't detect? And if so, or if you didn't detect anything, is there a way that we can check? Is there a certain test that we can do? Like, let me know my blood work, let me know my numbers, so we can not only be better for me in future pregnancies, if that's something you desire, but so I can be healthier overall, because God gave us this temple. We're to take care of it. So why not take this opportunity to get the knowledge? That's what I'm doing. And you may be asking, will this happen again? Now, the Mayo Clinic says that for us, when we've had a miscarriage, our probability is very high that we can have a successful pregnancy after. So that's really, really good news for us. And then you may be asking, well, will the next scan come up as inconclusive? And that's the whole point of the waiting period. When you went in for your checkup or from your last ultrasound, they give you that 10 to 14 day window to wait in order so they can have a conclusive diagnosis. Could I have caused this? No. We talked about that extensively earlier. 50%, which means half of all miscarriages, are caused by chromosomal abnormalities. You could not have caused this. And this is a question that actually often gets swept under the rug. Is it okay that I had relief once I knew what I wanted to do after I chose my 3 options? Like after I chose whether to have the natural birth at home, whether I chose to have the D&C or whether I chose to do the medication. Yes. Whatever choice you had, that is completely normal. And a lot of women actually experience that because they feel like one less thing to think about, one less thing to do, one, especially once the procedure or the baby has passed through you, or, you know, they just feel like, oh, okay, that part's over. It's completely normal to have a relief. And relief and grief can coexist. They don't fight each other, they don't negate each other. They actually can coexist. So that's completely normal. And not only is it completely normal, it's okay. And if you just found out that your baby's heart has stopped beating before you even knew, please hear me. I am so sorry. And I know you may be tired of hearing that, like, oh, here's somebody saying I'm so sorry again. But I'm truly saying I'm so sorry because I know what this feels like. I know what the questions are. I know what this journey is because I've been through it too. You didn't fail to notice something. There was nothing to notice. You are not alone in this. You did nothing wrong. And if you're ready to go deeper than any journal or any video can take you, I recently opened the Whole Woman Method, a guided healing journey walking you through 3 phases: evaluate, rehabilitate, and cultivate. And I walk you through everything I wish someone had walked me through. Founding member spots are open now before doors open September 17th. And I'll put the link in the description for you. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of If Only We Talked. And we're gonna let the Holy Spirit do what only He can do with you, in you, and through you. I love you, sis, and I'll see you in the next one.